Well, guess who? I was looking at the Kev Baker show. You know, I mentioned it in the last video, and I've watched Ben on the Kev Baker show a couple of times. Now this one is, I'll leave a link to this video below so you can check out the whole thing if you like. This is actually what is this? This is Area 51, robots, UFO disclosure, life on Venus, and lots more. It was on the 2nd of October 2020. Now this is not Truth Frequency Radio. This is, I think, yeah, this is the Kev Baker Show 2 is the channel here. So this is not Truth Frequency Radio. So I don't know whether Kev's branching out on his own. But anyway, let's have a look at what Ben's got to say about Trump, President Trump, and disclosure.
By his son. He did an interview with his son, Donald Jr. And the subject of Roswell came up. And I must apologise if we discussed this on the show before, but it's hard to keep track of all the things Kev and I talk about. Donald Jr. was saying, well, what about Roswell, Dad? You're going to tell the people? You're going to release the files and let people know? Now, it would be very easy. What I would expect a US president normally to do in that position would be to say, well, you know, I must tell you, I deal with classified material all the time. I've not checked out the web pages or the conspiracy websites and things like that, you know, but...
Well, Trump's not going to say that because he wouldn't be interested in that. He wouldn't be doing that anyway. He's got no... I've said it before and I'll say it again. Trump has got absolutely no interest in ET, aliens, etc. Beyond it might score him a vote or two if he creates a bit of intrigue about it.
We had a Project Blue Book to investigate these things that closed 50 years ago, and since then we've not really dealt with it very much. And there's nothing really of concern here to look at, you know. And that's not true. Well, firstly, Trump didn't say that, did he? He said, Roswell, thousands upon thousands of people ask me about this all the time, he said. And I could tell you a few things. I can't tell you everything, but there's an awful lot I could tell you. I thought, what? Well, say more, Mr. President, say more. And then he just sort of like, again, changed the subject.
Okay, well, let's see what Donald Trump actually said. Okay, so this is the interview Ben's referring to. Trump discusses Roswell, site of alleged UFO event, with his son. Doesn't look or sound very much like his dad, does he? And this is on. What is this on? This is NBC News. Okay, and this is on June the 20th, 2020. And I'll leave a link to this video below so you can look at it yourself. So let's see what Trump actually said.
Before you leave office, will you let us know if they're...
It's very quiet, isn't it? Have you got any more audio? Let's just see if I can get a bit more sound on that, because that is pretty quiet. Sorry about this, guys. You can see I put the usual amount of preparation into doing the video. This is just a point and shoot after breakfast on Saturday morning, the 10th of October 2020. I've got a fair bit to do today, so not a great deal of time.
There's aliens, because this is the only thing I really want to know. I want to know what's going on. Would you ever open up Roswell and let us know what's really going on there?
So many people ask me that question.
I know it sounds almost ridiculous, but it's actually the real question.
It sounds like a cute question, but it's actually, there are millions and millions of people that want to go there, that want to...
So not thousands and thousands, but millions and millions of people that want to go there. Want to go there. He's talking about Roswell. Millions of people want to go there. Now this is why he thinks there might be a vote or two in it. He's got no understanding. He's got no understanding of it at all, has he?
I see it. I won't talk to you about...
And go to Roswell and see it. Yeah? See what exactly? Go to Roswell and see it. And go and see what. This is like the you know, the news, the politician that was it with the war in Syria, when the fellow said to him, "What are you going to do about Aleppo?" And he had no idea what Aleppo was. He said, yes, it's not so, yes, well, obviously we want equality for all Aleppos. And this is a similar thing. Trump has got no idea what he's talking about. He's heard people referring to this Roswell thing, and he's got absolutely no idea about it whatsoever. People want to go to Roswell and see it. Okay. But, that tells you all you need to know, really, doesn't it? He has no idea. He knows people are interested in it, but he hasn't looked at it. He hasn't been briefed on it. He knows nothing whatsoever about it.
What I know about it, but it's very interesting. But Roswell's a very interesting place with a lot of people that would like to know what's going on.
So Roswell is very interesting, and Roswell is a very interesting place. Well, it isn't, is it? I mean, it's a desert town in where is it? Nevada, Roswell, New Mexico. Yeah, Roswell, New Mexico. So it's a town out in the desert. It's not an interesting place. It's just it's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting place. So he knows nothing whatsoever about it. He doesn't say, yeah, well, it was an interesting event. You know, back in 1947, there was an unusual event or an interesting event. He says Roswell is an interesting place. Lots of people want to go to Roswell and see it and see what. So really, he's got no idea or interest in Roswell or ET or aliens.
So you're saying you may declassify? You'll take it?
Well, I'll have to think about that one.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll have to think about it, because if he declassified it, we'd find out that it's a mogul balloon, and the intrigue would end, wouldn't it? And it would kill the Roswell tourism, you know, because people go there to the ET museum and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's what that's all about. All right, well, let's just have a look at something else. Yeah, okay. So what Trump actually said is a fair bit different to what Ben is saying Trump said. And I was actually surprised, because maybe I haven't looked at enough of what Kev Baker presents. Maybe I've only looked at some of the stuff he's done with Ben, because, you know, I said before, if you phoned up Kev Baker and said, yeah, I've just spent the last couple of weeks on holiday and I've been unicycling around the rings of Saturn, he'd say, I hear you there, brother. Aye, that must have been a really interesting experience for you. And here he is, actually showing common sense and sort of challenging Ben with regard to what Trump had to say. So maybe I was a bit hasty to judge Kev Baker.
A more adept second-hand salesman than your Obamas and Bushes before him, you know. Hey.
I think he's right. He's absolutely right, Kev Baker, on this point. He's just what he's saying, very politely, is that Trump is much more of a bullshitter than the previous presidents. You know, Trump's a salesman. Sales are all about bullshit, and that's all Trump knows. So, Ben's face is quite funny.
Found a new way of saying nothing, but making people think he had said something.
Yeah, that's exactly. He's right. I think Kev Baker's right on this occasion. I think he's spot on. That's exactly what Trump did. He's left the intrigue there because he might win. He might win a few votes out of it, and he knows that. And I think Ben previously said in this video that Trump is desperate to save his presidency. And he also mentioned, the disclosure could be Trump's October surprise. I mean, he won't be, of course, because there's nothing to disclose. But I think we've seen Trump's October surprise with the COVID thing. I don't think he ever personally. I don't think he ever had COVID. I think it was a spin doctor. He was surrounded by the best doctors he could find, spin doctors, and they came up with this ridiculous COVID thing. So they just squirreled him away to, a luxurious suite in a hospital for 3 days. It gets him out of doing any further debates, and he said he's not even going to debate Biden via video conference or Skype or whatever, because that's not the way debates are done. So Trump has run away and hid under the table effectively. It might have backfired, though, because the sort of stuff he's been saying is going to put an awful lot of people offside. He's saying, oh, well, COVID's nothing to worry about. Really, look, I'm 70-odd years old and I survived. I think it's easy to say when you've never had it. And I think what it's done is it's alienated an awful lot of people that have lost loved ones through COVID. So there'll be probably tens of thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people in the US that would have voted for Trump, that have lost a loved one to COVID, are now not going to vote for Trump. So anyway, that's sort of going off at a bit of a tangent there. But let's just get back to the UFO stuff, the UFO ET disclosure.
Why? I'm really trying to work out what he means, what he really means by all this, and what is the end result? What is the end result these people are seeking?
And that's a question I'd ask Ben Emlyn-jones, actually, with regard himself and the Apollo defectives. What is their end game? What is the goal they are seeking?
I'm surprised he didn't say, for me to answer that, all you got to do is turn out and vote for me.
Because they know they're going to be proved wrong. That's only a matter of time, isn't it? I mean, they're only going to be proved wrong with regard to their followers, I think, because everyone else knows they're wrong. What was I saying?
At the next election.
Sorry, I just got distracted here because there was I've got the big screen up there, and there was an aerobatic airplane flying around. I thought it was going to be another one of these air show crashes. Okay, let's get back to this.
And much like I said, drain in the swamp, because he spent 4 years forgetting about doing that. Probably spend the next 4 years forgetting about Roswell as well. But
Well, I think he's forgotten about Roswell already. If he doesn't get voted in, he'll never think about it again. And he's got no interest in it.
Me, I'm a cynical bugger, Ben. I'm a cynical one.
You're slightly more so than myself. I mean, you make some good points, though, Kev, about this. I mean, you've got to ask yourself, well, why is he being so equivocal? Why doesn't he just say it openly, whatever it is he wants to say? If he can't, maybe he does. Maybe he has a plan down the road to say something more openly. If so, well, why now? Why now? Why not? Why wait? I mean, he's fighting to save his presidency right now. He's facing an... Exactly,
yeah. He's fighting to save his presidency right now. So if there was anything to disclose, and he thought it was going to win him a massive amount of votes by disclosing the Roswell file, and it showed the Roswell file showed that they'd recovered alien material, then that would be quite spectacular, wouldn't it? It would be the greatest discovery, we're not alone in the universe. Actual tangible evidence that we're not alone in the universe would be it would be a fantastic discovery. He would get a Nobel Prize for that, for sure. But I think he doesn't do that because there's nothing to it. If he revealed the real Roswell file is going to say it was a mogul balloon string.
Election in this.
There's no votes in that, is there?
In a month. If he wants to know, the phrase October surprise, which is something that a candidate always pulls out of his hat just before people go to the polls.
Yeah, as I said, we've just seen it. I think that the production we've just seen of him being in hospital for 3 days, I think that was his October surprise. That was the best his spin doctors could come up with. So this is 3705 on this Kev Baker 2 video.
Wouldn't this be the ideal October surprise? Wouldn't it be just perfect for him? I mean, there's several people have suggested that the ideas of UFOs are so popular now that people like us actually represent a significant sector of the electorate. This is why apparently people like him.
Yeah, I don't know that that's true. I don't think the UFO ET books sell as well as they did in the 90s. But a vote's a vote.
Hillary Clinton have said this before. It's very much impressed Steve Bassett when Hillary.
See, the thing is, I mean, Hillary Clinton would know if there was anything to this. Bill Clinton said he would disclose, didn't he, if he got elected as president? And when he got in there, he said he couldn't find anything. Well, Hillary would know if they'd found something. Why isn't Hillary saying, make me president? And, well, actually, yeah, why isn't Hillary disclosing to steal Trump's thunder?
Clinton was campaigning. So why not pull that trick out of the hand now? Destroy the Biden campaign forever and be the greatest US president ever. Tell us the truth about Roswell and the UFOs and everything like that. Don't beat around the bush. Don't give us all these innuendo and hyperbole. Just say it. Just tell us the truth. Release the files. You know, we're adults. We can take it. Whatever the truth is, you know, we're stoic. We're brave people. We cope with the blitz and with rationing and all that sort of thing. You know, just.
Yeah. Okay. So he's expecting the truth about Roswell to be it was an ET craft. You know, whatever the truth is, we can take it. You know, we're stoic. We survived the blitz. So he's made his mind up what the truth is about Roswell. In Ben's mind, it's the crash of an ET craft. But what if Trump reveals the truth, and the truth is that it was a mogul balloon string? Would you accept that, or would you say, "Oh, Trump's lying. He's lying. The deep state's got to him." Just like he did on one of his other videos where Trump said he doesn't particularly believe in ET. Ben said he's lying. He's lying. So this guy is never ever going to accept anything about any story, any information about Roswell that does not say it was the crash of an ET craft. He's never ever going to be satisfied with anything other than Roswell wasn't the crash of an ET craft. Regardless of, you know, the complete lack of tangible evidence for that. And the evidence to support the crash of a mogul balloon string, which is the tinfoil, the balsa wood sticks and the rubber strips, and exactly the stuff that you would find in a mogul balloon string. It was what's strewn all across Brazel's field. It's what Brazel found. He described it in good enough detail to know exactly what it was. So there's going to be, it's just like the moon landings, you know, there's going to be no convincing this guy. The other day when he was saying, you know, if regardless of who it is, whether it's Artemis or anyone else, if China or Russia go to the moon and they show the Apollo hardware on the lunar surface, they'll say, oh, it's a they put it there yesterday. They got an arrangement with the Americans, you know, they took it with them and they put it there and they set it all up and then they photographed it the next day. That's what he would say. And he's never ever going to accept the truth about Roswell. The truth being it was a mogul balloon string. That is the bottom line. His mind is made up. He's absolutely convinced it was the crash of an ET craft. Nothing will sway that opinion. If you could take him back in time so that he could go out there with Brazel and find the tin foil and balsa wood sticks, he would say, oh, well, there must be another crash site. That's because Ben's not a researcher. He's an enthusiast. He's an enthusiastic UFO ET hobbyist.
On the table.
I would love for that to happen. I would. Right now, with what's going on in America, I can only imagine what the other side would make of him choosing a time when there's a pandemic, whatever you make of it out there, at a time when America has never been so divided as well. If his trump card, pardon the pun, to bring people back together and, you know, somehow get himself over the line in the political race, I have no idea who's going to win that. I don't deal with. But I'm just imagining what CNN and all of his critics would have to say about the Orange Man if he chose right now to go full alien on us, you know.
It would have to be the whole hog. I mean, you couldn't. It's
Full
also
alien,
just
Ben, no hogs.
yes.
The whole alien.
And you'd have to all the hogs that have been kidnapped, all the hogs that have been abducted as well. They'd have to be returned, including the humans as well. But I mean, of course, this is what you would have to do. It's an all or nothing thing. Steve Bassett has often said this. You know, once you own
This is the guy that lives in a car, isn't it? Obviously worth listening to.
that box, you can't get anything back in again. Once you say, you know, there is a significant evidence, provable evidence that there's an extraterrestrial presence engaging the human race.
There isn't, though. That's the thing. That's why it's not been disclosed by the American president, by the Russian president, by the Chinese president, or anyone else. It hasn't been disclosed because it's not happening. That's the bottom line. There really is nothing to it. If it were true and Trump disclosed it, would it actually win enough votes? Are there enough UFO enthusiasts? I mean, I work with quite a lot of people, and I don't know. There's no one else that I work with is remotely interested in any of this stuff. So, you know, the members of the general population, the percentage of the general population that are interested in this would not be particularly high. Now, would that win him enough votes to counter the amount of votes that he's lost due to upsetting all the people that have lost loved ones to COVID? Maybe, maybe not. Time will tell. Actually, I was toying with the idea of doing a COVID video, but because it probably wouldn't be a very long video though. But I thought, what if COVID was actually a bioweapon? Now, people say, well, it doesn't kill enough people. I'm just going off a bit of a tangent here, but it's only for a couple of minutes. It doesn't kill enough people for it to be a bioweapon. But what if it's not that kind of bioweapon? What if it's a sort of bioweapon that's engineered to kill the Western world's economies, create mass unemployment in the West, and cause civil unrest in the West? If it was engineered to do that, it's doing a pretty good job, isn't it? And that would just leave, because apparently everything's tickety-boo in China now. So, and it would leave China as the only superpower, financial and military superpower, because everyone else is going to go bust trying to support their populations through this industry-killing pandemic that looks like it's going to go on for some time. But anyway, that's just an aside. Excuse me. So there we are. That's Ben and Kev Baker discussing Trump and UFO ET disclosure. But you can see how heavily biased Ben is. He won't even consider that Roswell was anything other than an ET crash. He embellished what Trump said about Roswell. I think the clip from Trump talking to his son clearly shows that Trump has absolutely no interest in Roswell. He's got no idea what it's all about. He certainly hasn't had a briefing on it, because the language would be completely different. He would actually say, you know, there's been a lot of speculation about, you know, what crashed in Roswell. He doesn't say anything about what crashed in Roswell. You know, the object, the incident. All he said was Roswell is an interesting place. A lot of people want to go there. Well, That's not saying very much, is it? It's sort of, it's showing he knows nothing whatsoever about it. People ask him about Roswell, and he goes, "Oh yeah, well it's interesting. I can't talk about it," because he's got no idea what it's all about, and just moves on to the next thing. That's what that's all about. Okay, well, we'll finish there, and perhaps I'll take a look at a bit more of what Kev Baker does, because I think I may have misjudged Mr. Baker here. So let's. I'll just finish with the clip from Trump, the original clip from Trump, where he said he doesn't particularly believe in ETs. Okay, so here's Trump, and the guy's going to ask him about what he thinks about ET.
We know we disagree about that, but we have a whole.
I can see why they call him the Orange Man.
Way ahead to go.
Actually, the sound is too loud on this particular. I really need something a little more professional. I think this is a little more professional. Beginning to sound like Boris Johnson. Spends all this money on studio equipment and still broadcasts rubbish. Let's get the volume back down on that to about there. I think will be better. What I should do is have some sort of inline compounder and do it properly and get the levels all sorted. But there we go.
Before we go, one of the things you have as president is the access to all the information.
Right.
Now, bear in mind that every single president there's ever been is going to have access to all the information, and not one of them have said they can find anything.
In the world, all the mysteries out there. And I was just struck in the last couple of weeks, we're reading more and more reports of Navy pilots seeing lots and lots of UFOs. If you can brief on that, what do you make of it?
Yeah. As soon as he says UFOs, Trump sort of cringes and turns it into a grin.
I think it's probably. I want them to think whatever they think. They do say. I mean, I've seen, and I've read, and I've heard, and I did have one very brief meeting on it. But people are saying they're seeing UFOs. Do I believe it? Not particularly.
Do you think you'd know if there were evidence of extraterrestrials?
Well, I think our great pilots would know. And some of them really see things that are a little bit different.
Yeah. I think our great pilots would know. So he's not interested. He doesn't want to know. You've got no chance whatsoever of getting any kind of official statement from Trump about ET and UFOs being extraterrestrial, or interaction between extraterrestrials and the human race. It's never going to happen. He doesn't want to know anything about it. This whole body language is, what is this rubbish? So that was Trump in his own words on both things. So Ben said that Trump said he doesn't particularly. When I pointed out that Trump said he didn't particularly believe in it, Ben Emlyn-jones said he's lying. He's lying. He's so desperate. He's so desperate for this stuff to be true. He's not a researcher. He doesn't want to know if it's true. He's pushing the story that it's true without any tangible evidence to support the story being true, or the stories being true. That's the difference between a UFO enthusiast, a UFO hobbyist, and a researcher. All right. Well, I think that'll do. I don't think there's any more to say about that, really. As always, if you've struggled through the video all the way to this point, thanks for watching, and perhaps I'll catch you again.